Dick Weissman is an award-winning musician, songwriter, and author of more than 22 books. He has written about everything from banjo instruction to various aspects of the music business in the current century. He is an educator who helped to create the music business program at CU Denver and is also a historian and mentor for hundreds, if not thousands, of former students and colleagues. Born on January 21st, 1935 in Philadelphia, Dick describes his early life saying, "My parents had a commuter marriage. My mother was teaching public school in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn, and my dad was a pharmacist in Philadelphia, where he had a little drugstore, and I had this collection of booklets about the American West. When I was 13, we traveled to Colorado and New Mexico. That was when I first became interested in Colorado." While attending Goddard College in Vermont, he learned to play the banjo from Lil Bloss. Like many musicians that came out of that era, Weissman was influenced by Pete Seeger and traditional mountain music and the blues. He eventually moved to New York, and like many folk music lovers, Dick spent time at Tiny Ledbetter's house. At her Thursday night music gatherings, she was Leadbelly's niece. During those years, he was influenced and inspired by Stuart Jameson from New Mexico, who collected banjo music from artists like Rufus Crisp out of Kentucky. It was during that time that Dick developed his distinctive finger-style guitar playing and started to get calls for recording sessions. Eddie Bell's on West 46th Street was the music store where session musicians hung out. Dick's unique guitar and banjo chops got him work with New York studio guitarists like Barry Galbraith and Al Caiola. When Weissman was 23 years old, he got a major co-writing opportunity with Dave Von Ronk for a song titled Bamboo. In 1959, Dick traveled to Denver and stayed at Walt Conley's house. He played the Satire Lounge, and according to Weissman, Walt's house was a 24-hour-a-day party. Walt was booking the Satire, and I ended up as one of the opening acts for acts like the Smothers Brothers, who at that time were just starting out. Weissman returned to New York, where he met John Phillips, later of the Mamas and Papas. Phillips introduced Dick to Scott McKenzie, who wrote the 60s ode, "If You're Going to San Francisco." Through a series of events, Weissman, Phillips, and McKenzie formed the band The Journeyman. They got signed to Capitol Records, where they released 3 albums and toured together for almost 4 years. In 1964, just before The Journeyman broke up, Dick recorded a solo album for Capitol called The Things That Trouble My Mind. The label hoped Weissman might be a possible competition for Dylan's success at Columbia. The album and other songs Weissman wrote during that period met with considerable success, including a song about mining called They Still Go Down for Graham Parsons and Lullaby from Medgar Evers that Julie Collins recorded. After 12 years in New York City, doing everything from producing records to writing songs and touring, Weissman decided to make the move to Denver, where the Denver Folklore Center was the focal point of a community of musicians, including Kim King of Lothar and the Hand People, signed to Capitol between 1965 and 1970. Members of Magic Music with Chris Daniels and later Nick Forrester, and Tim O'Brien, who founded Hot Rides, which at that time was Colorado's premier neo-traditional bluegrass band. Weissman began teaching guitar lessons while attending UCD and simultaneously making the transition into life as a family man. From 1975 to the early 1980s, Dick played in bands, raised a family, taught at Colorado Women's College, and composed music for a number of films and commercials. In 1979, Dick recorded a solo album titled Modern Banjo, Mountain Style, and he began his career as an author of more than 22 books. His first published book, The Folk Music Source Book, won the ASCAP Music Critics Award. Weissman's teaching and writing helped him to acquire funding for special educational experiences and opportunities for his students, including residencies with Peggy Seeger, Lynn Chandler, a well-known black protest singer, and Native American artist Vince Two Eagles from Montana. He also created CU Denver's record label, CAM Records. Between 1990 and 2019, Weissman recorded 7 solo albums that explored a range of musical adventures, from new directions that in 1990 included a quintet with flute, sax, fiddle, mandolin, guitar, banjo, dobro, and electric bass, to 2008's 4 Directions, a double album with 1 CD of songs with lyrics and the other CD consisting of all instrumental pieces. Dick's music always kept evolving. In 2016, he released Night Sky, consisting of 16 instrumental pieces and a 5-part instrumental suite based on the folk song The Golden Vanity, also known as Willow Tree. Weissman is as creative and busy now as he was in the 1960s. Over the past few years, he's been elected to the Denver Musicians Association 4 times, published the book The Music Never Stops, and his newest book is History of American and Canadian Folk Music, and it is out with his new album entitled No Ceiling. There are very few musicians in the world who are not only authors, educators, producers, and historians, and we are blessed to have one of the most talented and knowledgeable of these rare individuals here in Colorado. The Colorado Music Hall of Fame, presented by Comfort Dental, is proud to induct Dick Weissman as part of the Old Folk, New Folk class of 2019.